There you go. As the Dam Buster Hoover tour fades away, we are on a route update. Here we are at the southern point of what I've built so far. This is Upper B Bridge Junction and the Upper B carriage sidings, leading towards one of the more complicated junctions, and the whole route actually, which is Upper B Road, London Road, and Bog Road Junction, kind of breaks off on both sides and has this road bridge that goes over it at varying heights. Here we are looking at it from east to west. That's the Cowans Crane company to the left. The line going straight ahead of you is off into the Tyne Valley, and the line that cuts off to the right slightly is the famous Settle and Carlisle. That's London Road Goods underneath us. I get carried away a little bit sometimes. This is well off the beaten track for the scenery, but I couldn't resist modelling Blundell Park, Carlisle United, which is just off to the side of the city. Here we go back up round the curve from the Settle and Carlisle and the Tyne Valley route, past the Carlisle Power Box and into the station throat. Obviously, if the track work's done, a lot of work to be done on the knitting still, but some of the scenics available now, as you can see here, look fairly good. This is a 31 heading off onto the Settle and Carlisle. Let's have a sneaky look at what you could see from the carriage window. Here we go. Coming under the road bridge, it's St Luke's Road Bridge, and this is the Cowans Crane Company, now a retail park, as with most of Britain these days. But this is modelled just towards closing. Here we are. I haven't done any super detailing in Carlisle Station yet. Still working on the knitting, the catenary up top. But I need to do some work on some customised posters and check out all of the signage and what else I can get away with inside. But here we go. We'll fast forward a little bit now out to the north of Carlisle and see how it's going up there. This is heading up towards the city wall limits and Carlisle Citadel Castle. I am trying to model the county fair in the car park, but haven't done a lot of it yet. The lines coming up from the left are the old freight avoiding lines, which by the time this is modelled have been cut by the Freightliner accident, the derailing earlier in the 80s. Here we are heading north towards Kingmore. I saw some photos on Flickr of these sidings still in use in the mid 80s, and for scrap stock, couldn't resist it. Still some work to do on Kingmore detailing, but the track layout is in place. I need to do a little bit of levelling to make sure there's not so much of an incline in certain parts. Speed forward towards Floreston Level Crossing. You're going to interrupt me now. There you go. As you can have a look at an earlier video, I've made some changes to the Floreston Crossing since the last time I recorded a video over here, more accurate to the 88 period. This is moving on towards the border, past Longmoor military installation. Still a work in progress, and here we are heading towards, there's the border there on the river, the site of the old Gretna station and the junction that peels away. Got some work still to do on detailing around here, but this is Quintus Hill passing loops, obviously fairly infamous in the railway world. That's pretty much finished. This whole stretch here from Quintus Hill up to, almost up to Lockerbie, in fact, is in a pretty good state. Obviously not finished. No super detailing, really. But I took a bit of a shift in focus for a bit. Started working on permanent way and catenary and signalling, which obviously doesn't show anything in terms of scenery, but means that I can start to work on running trains properly. So speed limits and signals have been put down. Here we come through Kirkpatrick and Fleming, I think. Still needs some work. As you can see, I had done a lot of work on that before. The Great Crash, which we don't talk about. And then we go into the valley, curve around a little bit, follow some curves into Kirkpatrick, which is one of those little dioramas that are much closer to completion. This area is fun and interesting in terms of modelling and in detail and in variety, but when you're running the trains, often it's in a cutting, so you don't see as much. But I know it's there. So here we are, this is the Kirkpatrick Viaduct, and we'll see an 86 go past with a speed limit work. So this next stretch I'm pretty pleased with. We've got up to quite a good standard. There's a lot of cuttings, but this is in a pretty good state. The line is to the left there, just going underneath the A road. We're going to cross back over it as it turns over a small viaduct, and then into this cutting here as we head east before turning north in the approach to Lockerbie. From the cab, this all looks pretty good. There's always that debate about how far from the line you go into detailing, and I always get carried away. Who doesn't? I mean, this whole layout started as just a model of Carstairs, and the fact it ended up being Carlisle to Glasgow was because I kept thinking, well, I need enough of a run-up to get to actual stereotypical, prototypical speeds, and I got a bit carried away. You can see that's the A road I've put down. I'm modelling before the motorway, the M74 was complete, so that's caused a lot of heartache and problems in terms of accuracy, and I've opted for a little bit of modeller's license here and there, as we'll see a little bit later on the route. So here we come on this sweeping curve, again into quite a deep sort of cutting straight in our approach to Lockerbie. The detailing and the work, I've divided the line into a series of sections. So I have the main line, basically Carlisle to Lockerbie, Lockerbie to Betwick Summit, Betwick to Carstairs, Betwick to Carstairs, Carstairs to Motherwell, and Motherwell to Glasgow Central. We are entering the area of the route that has had the least amount of work done to it. We have track down, but in some parts of the straight section north of Lockerbie, south of Betwick, before the climb, there's very little work that's been done. At times, none at all. So as you can see, Lockerbie is taking shape. Flip around and have a look at the other side. There we go. But still, some work to do to make that look prototypical. And as I said, we hit this lonely stretch of Transdem for a bit here. As you can see, I haven't even settled out the route with the surveyor yet in places for the track. This is just the part of the line that needs to be given some TLC next. So the line is off to the left of the shot as we're just heading in a straight line ourselves with the camera towards Betic. As you can see, there's a bit more detail emerging up in the north of the shot as the landscape begins to change, and we head towards one of the most famous parts of the West Coast Main Line, the climb up to Betic Summit. The line is gradually climbing at the moment, but it really kicks in after we go past the Betic Yard, which is coming up ahead of us now. Back in steam days, this was a real challenge, and prior to electrification, even diesel locomotives would struggle up this mount, this climb, and so fun stretch to model and to get some working and challenge done, and on the realistic driver mode, which I've done a couple of times. It looks a bit more as if scenery has been done as we go up here, but there's a lot of work to do to get the line realistic in terms of how it climbs. Can't see it in too much detail from up above here, but there's still work to be done here on the permanent way. As we head up this thin valley, you can see the A road hugging under the railway, the path of the motorway to be, not completely covered up by my scenic colouring. And I've modelled a combination of the forestry work being cut back or being grown just to try and save the amount of polys as we go up this or down this stretch. And here we go into probably my favourite section of the line in terms of modelling. Betic Summit through to the Abingdon Loops and up to Carstairs. So we get back into a bit more scenery detail, a bit more accurate permanent way from here on in for a bit. This scene has changed a great deal. Today the motorway ploughs straight through to the right of the line and doesn't make it feel quite so lonesome as it once did. So here we go, we're going to start coming back down on the approach to Glasgow as we open up onto the river plain of the Clyde, swing round again north past Elvenfoot. Here we are now, and here the line follows the River Clyde for most of the route now, quite closely at this stretch. And here's where I talk about modelling license. I've modelled the process of building the new motorway overpass outside of Crawford. You can see the famous tea forest up on the horizon almost there. I've taken a little bit of license of moving that ever so slightly so it can be included in the model landscape I've built. It should be a little bit higher. I call it the tea forest. If you look up on the internet, it's got a naughtier name, which I won't spoil the surprise for you. And I'm very pleased with how this looks. This is Crawford. Still got some detailing and some modelling to finish off for the town itself. The railway is going for a very tight cutting on the curve just underneath us there. We'll cut here now, following straight onto the railway. There is the famous viewing camera spots above the viaduct there above the Clyde, and we follow the curve round here towards Abingdon and the Abingdon Loops as we head into the last real stretch of countryside route before we start heading towards the urban build-up of Glasgow and the Scottish Central Belt. A bit of work needs to be done on this stretch, to be honest. Further up, just up towards the next viaduct, we go past the tallest summit on the line as we curve around the foot of it through Symington and Thankerton, and then it starts to plane out and lose the hills as we start to head towards Carstairs. There is the highest point overlooking the line. And most of that scenery has been done. As you can see, a lot of detail to be put in. Roads, bridges, always relentless farms populating up the village, fences, hedges, walls, etc. I do like this little section here. As you can see, the Clyde plain up ahead as we head north here, straight on the curve through Thankerton, and then due north before we turn west towards Carstairs. And this is one of the sections that has been done to a reasonably high standard. Not finished, not completely, not detailed in every aspect, but you get a really clear idea of a near finished look here. And we are now in the baseboards of the original model plan I had, and you can see now we're heading at speed down this straight towards Carstairs, and with the junction to peel off towards Mid Calder and Edinburgh to the right, which will just, and the psychiatric hospital above it, Carstairs Psychiatric Hospital. We'll just approach Carstairs from the east right now. There we go. Over the psychiatric hospital, round the curve. There is the station. It was the original vision. A little bit of license in keeping the colliery curve, well, the coal loading curve here, just to the north of Carstairs, just to add some variety in traffic and give a bit more freight flow. At the time in 1988, that wasn't there. Can't remember exactly when it was built. Now we come round this curve, but we'll pause a second and just take a little excursion, very, very short hop and a skip, just to the south of the line to go to Lanark. Now, this is again a bit of a labour of love. I don't need to put so much detail and effort into Lanark. I don't suppose many people are going to see it, but there we go. And we head over the Clyde again, over the level crossing, and now you can see we've got the Clyde Valley to our left. Clyde kind of drifts away to the south of us now, and we follow on top of the hills here, and we sweep round towards Carluke next. Now a lot of this section, Carluke to Law Junction, I spent a lot of time during COVID, during the lockdown, working on that. I used to joke that I was on holiday in Carluke, so I'm quite pleased with the work that was done on that section. As ever, it's not finished. It's not finished. And you can see that now. We're passing that. I think I got the detailing level right in terms of staggering it back from the line, and I've tried to use that as I continued through the layout. Did a lot of work on the area towards Motherwell and the approach to Wishaw in Lockdown as well, which is just coming up after Law Junction. But again, I haven't completed it. There's no real true finished section of this. It just doesn't stop. So we've gone past Law Junction, and this is Wishaw. As you can see, it's not bad. Quite well done. Well into the realms of approaching super detailing. Still stuff to do, always. Spent a lot of time looking for the right models. There's an oil terminal that has to go in there alongside the old Greyhound track. And I get distracted. The Greyhound track doesn't exist anymore. And trying to find photos of it to model it accurately became a bit of an obsession. Here is obviously Ravenscraig, a big and significant part of the route, and it's in place. Still some way to go. I don't need to do so much detailing within the works itself, because basically as an operator of a train you're just not going to see it. There is this line to the north here, but we'll go back to the approach to Motherwell on the main line, and the immediate surrounding area of Motherwell Station has been done to a pretty good standard. Again, looks better when you're down there on the line, but still an awful lot of work to do to build out from there to give it the feeling of depth. I have done a bit more work to the right. Motherwell depot's got to go there. A bit more work to the right between the two lines behind Ravenscraig. This is where the layout really opens up in terms of width, because we have two lines, and obviously I'm not going to show you today, but what is there to the north is Moss End Yard, which the track is down, but no detailing has been done at all. But here we go, we're moving, the lines come back together here at Uddingston. There's the Blue Circle Cement Works. We go underneath the motorway, and we are now getting into the suburban sprawl of Glasgow as we hit Newton here. The line coming back in that's come around from Motherwell, and that line to the left is heading off towards Cathcart. That needs to be, again, we've got these three lines. We have the freight avoiding line to the north as well, and this is probably the area that is most detailed. We've got yellow lines, street lights, people, allotments. A lot of detailing has been done across this section around Rutherglen, and here we have again little distraction of mine as we come round the corner before we get to Polmady. I'm just going to have a quick look to the north, because there is a significant landmark, and I'm a bit more justified in putting some time into this one, because we have the line that comes up from Rutherglen there, and there's an old scrapyard which sits under the shadow of Celtic Stadium Parkhead, which is there, but we'll look at that another day. This is Hampden Park, back down to the south of the main line, south of Polmady, and we'll come back up to the line and make that final run. This track layout, signalling, catenary, speed limits, AWS, and detailing pretty much done along this stretch here. This small, I think, Eglinton Road stretch I would call it, and as we come through the tunnels, here's the major station approach to the end of the line, Glasgow Central. The track work is pretty much done. Not perfect, very difficult to work out. Station has all been built, scratch built, because no one's produced a Glasgow Central, unlike Carlisle, which is a bit easier. So there's a lot of work to be done in detailing the station itself. There's the Highlands umbrella. I'm very proud of that little stretch. Just rapidly head back down south towards Queen's Park, and as you can see, the line off to which will eventually be joined to Carlisle, and the Cathcart Circle is there. And we've got Ibrox just to feature the last of the football stadiums. This is following the motorway in from the west, which will join the M8 and head over the Clyde. And that's what the West Coast Main Line Carlisle to Glasgow model looks like as of today. Thanks for watching. Cheerio, bye.
British Rail. We're getting there.